Have you ever noticed a woman who seems content on her own, no boyfriend, no partner, and thought, is she lonely? What if the answer isn't loneliness, but liberation? She's not hiding from love. She's not broken or unlucky. She's choosing something society rarely celebrates, her own company. In a world that pushes urgency to pair up, her silence speaks volumes. It says, I know myself and I won't trade that for anyone. She's not avoiding connection. She's being selective. Not cold, just done setting herself on fire to keep others warm. And that kind of peace, it's powerful, it's disruptive, and it's deeply misunderstood. Stay with this because the truth behind her solitude will challenge everything you think you know about love, independence, and what it means to be whole. There's something undeniably unsettling to many about a woman who doesn't need a relationship to feel complete. Why? Because she breaks the script. She refuses to play the role that says women must be rescued, must be wanted, must be chosen. Her wholeness doesn't come from someone else, it comes from within, and that makes people nervous. It dismantles the myth of emotional dependency and exposes a truth many aren't ready to face. Most men don't know what to do with a woman who doesn't need saving. Even other women can struggle with this reflection, because she becomes a mirror. One that shows what's possible when you stop settling and start listening to your soul. And in that mirror, some see inspiration. Others see everything they've denied in themselves. Carl Jung once said that what we repress becomes part of our shadow. And these women, those who walk alone, are often walking embodiments of that shadow. They are what many secretly long to be, but few have the courage to become. They don't scream for validation. They don't post curated cries for attention. Instead, they move quietly, choosing themselves with each step, not to impress, but to preserve, not to withdraw, but to reconnect with their own essence. They're not chasing fairy tales, they're building peace. And that makes people uncomfortable. Because while the world is yelling, hurry, find someone, these women have discovered something timeless, the power of being enough, all on their own. A woman who lives without a partner isn't drifting. She's operating on an entirely different frequency, one where nothing is begged for, everything is chosen, where validation isn't necessary because presence, her own presence, is already enough. That's why people label her. They call her distant, too proud, too picky. But what they're really reacting to isn't her absence. It's her power, a quiet, grounded force that doesn't ask for permission to exist. She's not avoiding love. She just refuses to shrink to fit someone else's version of it. And until something expansive and real finds her, something that honors all she is, she will remain right where she is, whole, steady, and unshaken. She didn't choose this solitude because of pain. She chose it because of growth. She stopped calling chaos love. She stopped accepting crumbs and calling them meals. This woman has known loss. She's loved deeply, given endlessly, and burned herself out trying to be enough for people who didn't value her. But somewhere in the middle of that exhaustion, she woke up. Not all at once. Awakening rarely happens in a flash. It came slowly, through disappointments that stopped wounding and started teaching. Her quiet now. That's not coldness. That's emotional wisdom. She doesn't crave company for the sake of filling space. She craves connection that reflects what she's learned. Reciprocity, presence, realness. Not sweet promises, but steady truth. That's why she may seem hard to reach. Because she's not here to play games, she's not waiting to be rescued. She's waiting to be met, fully, courageously, and without disguise. This isn't about being difficult, it's about being whole. And a whole woman awakens two reactions: admiration from the healed and fear from those still fragmented. She isn't here to complete anyone. She's not someone's missing puzzle piece. She wants to walk beside someone who's already found themselves, and until that happens, she'll keep choosing herself, not out of arrogance but out of loyalty to her soul. This isn't hiding, this is protection. There's a difference between isolation and preservation, and she knows exactly where that line is. The world still preaches that happiness comes in pairs, that you must have someone by your side to prove your worth. But she doesn't live by those rules, she lives by truth. She hears the comments, "You're too picky. Don't wait too long." But she smiles, not in pride but in clarity, because she finally sees what she deserves, and she won't accept less again. She's not asking for perfection, she's asking for presence, for maturity, for someone who's also done the work. Her presence is a quiet revolution. She doesn't confront anyone, yet her very being unravels the systems built on insecurity and dependency. Men who thrive on neediness feel threatened. Women still tied to approval feel judged. But she's not here to prove anything. She simply is. And that authenticity, it's a mirror some can't bear to look into. She moves at her own rhythm. She chooses depth over distraction. She wants soul, not surface. And when she says no, it's not a test, it's a boundary. When she walks away, it's not drama, it's protection. And when she stays home instead of entertaining emptiness, it's not bitterness, it's wisdom. Her clarity didn't come cheap. It came from pain, from surrender, from learning to stop dancing for crumbs. She doesn't live to please. She lives to be. What unsettles the world isn't her solitude. It's her peace. Because true peace, earned through the fire of self-discovery, shakes the very ground people stand on. Jung said those who look outside dream, but those who look within awaken. And she has awakened. She peeled off the masks, stared down the shadows, and came back whole. She no longer sees herself through borrowed eyes, she sees through her own. And that changes everything. There was a time she questioned her worth without a partner. A time she feared solitude meant failure. But now she knows it's better to stand alone than be unseen in a relationship. That realization wasn't pretty. It was earned, layer by layer. And with every step, her strength grew. She learned that true love doesn't cage. It sets you free. Until she finds a love that expands rather than confines, she chooses her own growth. Not from pride, from integrity. This is the journey Carl Jung called individuation, the process of becoming whole by integrating all of who you are. And she's lived it. She descended into her personal abyss and came back clearer, bolder, and brighter. She's not waiting to be chosen. She chooses. She's not begging for a place. She creates her own. That shift confuses those who still want to control the feminine, but she's already stepped beyond their reach. Real love, the kind she now seeks, won't arrive to fix her. It will arrive to celebrate with her. It won't come to complete her, but to overflow. Society may try to convince her she's missing out, but she knows better. Her wisdom was born in silence. In the quietest places, she found the loudest truths. She learned to close doors without resentment, to walk away without bitterness, to smile in solitude. Because being alone stopped being punishment. It became a promise to never betray herself again. She doesn't submit to love that shrinks her. She doesn't mask her edges to be accepted. She longs for a love that honors her whole being, the shadow and the shine. She won't accept emotional crumbs. She won't dim her light for comfort. And even when the path is hard, even when the silence echoes, she stays the course. This is the journey of an awakened woman, not chasing validation, not conforming, but living from a place of rooted truth. She may walk alone, but she is far from lost. Her soul is her compass. Her silence is her strength. And every time she chooses herself, she writes a new story. One that defies old patterns and invites others to rise. Because in the end, the woman who lives alone without a man isn't missing anything. She's simply not willing to lose herself again. And maybe, just maybe, that's the kind of love story we all need to hear.